Hello, everybody. This is Vicki Jeter, and I'm representing Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. And this video is our introduction video to our midweek inspiration. And each week, the midweek inspiration could be a little different. And so, especially with the onset of doing virtual Sundays, which is going very well for us, sometimes the midweek video will be the presentation portion of what we did on Sunday, and sometimes the midweek inspiration will be unique, done by a practitioner such as myself or one of our other practitioners, depending on what's happening and how things are changing in this very fluid environment that we're experiencing right now. So we just want to let you know that it will start with this introduction, and then just following it will be something very unique each week. And we hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions, or if you would like to be in more consistent contact with Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, you can email me at Vicki B. Jeter, that's V-I-C-K-Y, B as in boy, J as in Jack, E-T-E-R, @gmail.com. Thank you.
From the sides of my text. It is a beautiful and true thought to realize that every man, every woman stands in the shadow of a mighty mind, a pure intelligence, and a divine givingness. Not alone unto the great comes the soft tread of the unseen guest. One of the names for spirit is givingness. It is constantly giving all the time. It never really says no. You know, in some faiths they talk about that God says yes, no, or wait a while. And God doesn't say wait a while, and it doesn't say no. It says it's right here, just take it. But we have trouble taking it, believing it. And it is for us to understand that it's always giving. Whether we take it or not, it's always right there all the time. I fell a week ago Friday and was, until today, was really in a lot of pain. And so since January, I've had health issues that I had never expected to have. And just a whole lot of pain. And I don't like pain. It's very distracting. And it has kept me distracted from my spiritual practices in a strong way. And so that is kind of a negative circle. The more I get distracted, the more pain I have, and on and on and on. And so to stand and say, whatever it looks like, it's good. Whatever it feels like, it's good. Because I know that Spirit is always giving me anything and everything that I need or desire. And so that givingness of Spirit is an attribute that we want to recognize and we want to use. Because if we're open to receiving, it's certainly open to giving. And so we want to be able to open ourselves to receive. And so earlier this week, I got a notice from Mike Dooley. He writes notes from the universe. Do y'all know who he is? Some of you know who he is? Okay. I went, yeah, Pat does. I know a lot of you don't. During the time that the fire happened at the house 10 years ago, I guess, that was a hard time too. And I went to see him speak in Indianapolis. And it was just wonderful. And I had been reading his daily affirmations called Notes from the Universe. And they're written in the way the universe is talking to you and all. And they're just the most encouraging daily little thing I've ever found. And so that's the one that I keep getting every day. And so I know him, I've seen him, and I have been blessed by him. So I got this thing, he's doing a free workshop. And I looked at it and I thought, I don't do a lot of those things. I don't spend much time on the computer that I don't have to. I used to, but now I just really don't get a lot of kick out of it. And so I don't do a lot of those things. There are wonderful things out there, but I don't do a lot of them. But I decided to do his. And so I went out and he was talking about um, finding that oneness, that appreciation, and being able to stay in that place. And it was just such an encouraging hour in my week. And he offers 2 free weeks, and then it starts to cost. And I think I may pay for it. I'm going to try my free 2 weeks, but I may actually pay for it. And I'm adverse to spending money right now. So it's kind of funny. But he said some things that I wanted to share with you that were different approaches to what we have and what we want and that sort of thing. And one of the things that he said that really struck me was in telling his own personal story, when he started looking and searching for spirit and for growth and being more than he was at the time, he didn't go back. He was moving forward, not backward. And so for him, trying to find out, why am I afraid of this? Why do I get nervous then? Why do I feel this way? Why, all that kind of stuff. What did I happen in my childhood? What happened in my, that's a waste of time because that's going the wrong direction. So all he talks about and thinks about is, where am I going? Where do I want to be? And so it took him a long time. Now he comes from a family that is very spiritual. His mother writes as well as Michael does. And so he had a lot of encouragement there if he would just allow it to come into his life. And he did the best he could. It still took about 2 years, but he just kept talking about the kind of life he wanted to live, the kind of person he wanted to be, the kind of experiences he wanted to have, not what would hold him back, not what would cause him to say no, but the things that would open him up. And so one of the suggestions that he made was, you need 5 minutes a day. That's it. 5 minutes a day will cover the 95% of negative if you do 5 positive a day. And he's talking about meditating, and he's talking about reading. And I had not ever, or if I heard it, it didn't stick that way. He said, you pick something and you read 5 minutes of it every day. And he was talking like picking a book. And that is your commitment. You're going to read 5 minutes from that book every day. And so I thought about that a while, and I thought, what book would I choose? Anybody want to take a wild guess as to what book I chose? Many of you taken the class, This Thing Called You. It just kept coming up in my mind. If you've not taken the class and we offer it, you ought to take it. And if you've already taken it, you ought to take it again, because it just has such wonderful words of encouragement and wisdom in them. And so I began to read 5 minutes every day. And he also suggested that once an hour, you stop and you say a mantra, or you read another paragraph, or you say a prayer, or whatever it is, that you do something so that you are constantly reminded of who you are. Because that's what we do. We forget who we are. We forget that we are spirit and expression. We forget that it is up to us to express and to love and to joy, and we forget. And so this is to help to remind us not to. So this little book that I chose, This Thing Called You, is written by Ernest Holmes. And we do teach a class on it, and it's a class that people say, oh, I wish it had been the first class I took. It was just so wonderful. And we may offer it again, but especially if we get people saying, well, if you'll offer it, I'll take it. But it's something that I would encourage everyone who had the opportunity to read and be a part of. It starts out with you, like all others, are seeking the joy of living. You wish to be needed, to be loved, to be included in the great drama of life. This urge is in every individual. It is in everything. The rose exists to express beauty. Root and branch conspire with nature to give birth to blossom. An artist will starve in his garret that he may chisel an angelic form from a slab of marble, compelling the unyielding substance to accept his breath of creation. And it goes on to talk about we are born to express. That's why we're here. And we have things that we want to express that we came into this lifetime wanting to express, and that are urges within us. They're within our hearts, and they're within our minds, and then our very bodies, urging us to do one thing or another. And one of the things that's kind of universal in that urge is to give. Most of us really like to give. We're not always real good about receiving. And I'm in a position right now where I receive a lot and I ask for a lot. And I've never been in that position before. But I have wonderful Bob who always says, yes, kind of a nice example. And so I am learning in this process to be the receiver, but I miss being the giver. Giving is something that we all, I think, really want to do, whatever that means and however you do that. So Pat told me a story, and they gave me permission to share the story with you. On a previous Zoom meeting, Wendy mentioned that she works all day, so it's hard for her to get to a store before they've sold out of toilet paper. And she has gotten to the point where she's thinking, well, maybe I should have bought. I should have been in those lines, that started years ago, or started months ago. And so when Pat was in the store, she saw toilet paper. And so she picked up one for Wendy and called her and said, it's here, just come get it. And Vernon heard her say that she was looking for Clorox bleach so that would help her in her cleaning efforts. And so when he was out one day, he found 2 gallons of Clorox bleach, and he bought it and told her it was there. She wanted it. And so they were able to give physically something to someone else. And Wendy was able to receive without saying, oh, no, I'll be okay. She just said yes and received. And that really got me to thinking about how much we want to give, but how wonderful it is to receive. And during this time when we're all supposed to stay away from each other and stay at home, it's kind of a struggle. How do I give? What do I give? What do I have to give? And that is for us to figure out. Maybe it's to buy that extra thing of toilet paper, or it's to reach out and make a phone call to someone we know doesn't have very many people in their lives that will do that. Or maybe it's saying a prayer for someone, or just holding someone in the joy of living and in the joy of life. But whatever it is, to find a way that we can give to others during this time, because it affirms who we are. We are also givingness. As Spirit is givingness, so are we. And so when we stay within our nature and give, we are so brought into awareness of Spirit in the world. And so this week, I really wanted to share with you about that givingness and about the thing of finding ways to bring the remembrance of who you truly are to yourself on a regular basis. Spirit as me, Spirit in me, Spirit is me. Your spirit. And so it's, up to you to express that spirit, your spirit. And that means that you're health, and that you are wealth, and that you are supported by other people and loved all the time. And just to remind ourselves of that in whatever way works for us. And I just really took to the reading 5 minutes a day. I can do that. And I've just noticed in the 4 days I've been doing it, the difference it's making. Pain is distracting, and it gets you to thinking only about what you're feeling in this moment. And when I stop and read, then it takes me out of this apparent event to the truth of who I am and what is happening. And so in this book, I also found an affirmation prayer, something that I thought was really cool and have used often in these last 4 days and over the years, really. But you forget them. You have these wonderful affirmations and you sometimes forget them. And this one is, I place my affairs in the hands of goodness, love, and wisdom. That part is the part that I've used over and over and over again. When I have something that I don't know how to fix, that I'm involved in trying to fix and causing it to get worse, that I remind myself that I have placed all of my affairs in the hands of Spirit. And I trust that I am surrounded with givingness and goodness. I place them there with supreme confidence. I have a childlike faith and trust in good. I know there is nothing between me and that which is best. I am filled with enthusiasm. I enter into the fullness of life. That's where we are in truth. And we have a lot of circumstances that tell us something different. But if we can remind ourselves of truth, then we will see the situation differently and come through it differently. The other thing he said that kind of got me, he said, how many of you would take a lot of time off to do spiritual work? No, not many. Well, most of you or a lot of you work. And so you spend a lot of hours at an office somewhere or doing something from home or whatever, working. And he said, you should look at this as a blessed time because God has called you aside to take time to grow and to learn more about it and about yourself. So think of this as an incredibly wonderful opportunity to broaden your understanding of what it is that you are and what it is that Spirit is and how it all works together. All right. So I place my affairs in the hands of goodness, love, and wisdom. I invite you to close your eyes, and there will be silence some of the time, but I'm going to be doing some of the talking too. In the silence, we take a deep breath, and we feel it in our belly as we fill our entire body with oxygen, and then release it all back out and breathe it in again. Spirit in us, as us, is us. Fills this moment with deep awareness that we say yes to. We say yes to knowing Spirit. We say yes to experiencing Spirit. We say yes to expressing who we truly are, Spirit. And we breathe, letting ourselves be blessed, comforted, inspired. And we breathe. We might say to Spirit, Spirit, I am open to what you have to give to me in this very moment. I open my mind and heart to receive. As we imagine our minds opening, imagine our hearts opening, our consciousness opening to truth. We receive. We trust the love. We trust the givingness. We trust the constant presence. To bless us in ways beyond our personal thought, far beyond what we can imagine, to even more. And we breathe. In this moment, we say yes to all of Spirit. We say yes to ourselves, and to knowing and to expressing and to being the givingness and the lovingness of Spirit, which we are. And we take a deep breath. Bring our consciousness to the awareness of Spirit, to the awareness of where we are, to anything that we might think, I don't want to lose that. I love that phrase, that word, that feeling. We make note of it. And we know that we will not forget. It will stay with us. And we breathe and become more aware of right here, right now. Opening our consciousness to all of us gathered, all of us seeking, finding, and receiving. And so when you're ready, take a breath and feel fully present right here, right now.